sur le four?
Oui, il pop. All right. Yeah. How can I set this up? Hi.
Tu veux-tu te refaire manquer ou je peux mettre ça au compost?
Tu peux mettre ça au compost.
Ça? Ok.
Elle me montre le petit. Ok, parfait.
De quoi?
Tu connais les trucs qui vont?
Ben, je l'ai demandé.
On n'est pas les baguettes.
Ah oui.
Bah, je suis pas votre table.
Ça fait bon pas les temps.
Ah, ça. Sorry, had to go grab some tea. Oh, you'll get the full deal. Microphone sniffles, microphone coughs, and microphone blowing my nose really grossly. It's difficult for me not to call these streams Caturday Night Live. Let's get this booger train rolling, yeah. Booger booger. So hi Phoebe, hi Elise, hi Toke, hi Alex, hi Tsukaboo, hi Lana, hey Heather, and Patricia, hi guys. Today's prompt toilet paper. Actually, I'm like blowing my nose with the toilet paper because it's like even when I tried the really soft tissues, this is still softer. And the lotion stuff, I mean, it works fine, but I'm a bit wary about using it too much, like the lotion tissues, because they always put the methicone in it, and that's the silicone I'm allergic to. So I don't need to suddenly sprout new allergic reaction to stuff while I'm having a cold. There's the TP. Where's the hot tea? It's there. Whoop. I have some cough drops too. And I took some cold and sinus medication too. Oh, it's just a cold. Like, I complain a lot because I don't get sick that often, but I'm also fully aware that it's just a cold. So it's not all that bad, you know. It's in this realm of just being annoying. Because you feel like you should be able to still do stuff, no problem, but then you struggle a lot anyway, and you're like, what? It's quite a versatile. Yeah, that's what I told myself. This was on sale. It was like for a whole pack of paper, a full pack of toilet paper. It was less expensive than one box of lotion tissues. And I was like, you know what? If I end up having too much rolls of this, I can always repurpose them as toilet paper. Ah, hi Chaos, said Booger Train, and Sean came over. Aw. Oh no, oh my gosh, my nose is already like all cracked up and splitting. Ooh, you have a new name for palette puddle. That's nice. Oh my gosh, Lena, that sounds practical, but not very fun. come to Denmark and buy some Lemby toilet paper. So soft. I got the Charmin here. I mean, it's soft. I would, like, perhaps someone would touch this and be like, oh my gosh, this is so rough. But in terms of available toilet paper and tissues, this is the best. Do you ever feel like lotion tissues burn on your skin? Not as much. I always feel like I have like a very thick layer of greasy stuff around my face. But I gotta say, I had the lotion tissue for the first day of really having the sniffles, and I'm super grateful for them because, I mean, it's not the fact that they keep the skin, like, they prevent the skin from cracking and all that. It's more that it hurts less to repeatedly blow your nose with lotion tissue. But yeah, I was a bit wary too. And then I started having some, like an itchy tongue, which I know is a thing from allergies. So I was like, is it just the cold who's making me, like, is giving me allergy symptoms, or is it the lotion? And I got paranoid. Hey Stevie, hi! I have a super awesome unscented lip balm from Badger. They have the absolute best art for their products. And that's what I keep around, and I just rub it on my nose. I know it's maybe gross to imagine, but it's very practical, because say you're outside and your hands are not necessarily clean, well, you don't end up rubbing unclean hands on cracked skin. I do love Charmin Ultra Soft. You know what? I wonder if that's what I got. Oh yeah, that's what I got. The Ultra Soft, the blue one. I'm fairly sure that's what we use as toilet paper too. I never could understand why people buy rough toilet paper. It's like, well, do you really wanna like use that to wipe delicate areas? Yeah, that's the other thing I wanted to address, is that this stream is probably not going to be very long, like maybe about an hour or so. So as a short stream, I'm not quite sure what there was one thing I wanted to share, because I figured that it was relatively relevant to it can perfectly double as Kinect, doesn't it? Right? It's really, like, it's softer than the tissues I have, so I'll take it, you know. And it's easy to grab and carry around, and if you feel like you really, really need to blow your nose, you can make it a bigger tissue. And if it's just like some smaller thing, you can just grab a couple of, like, you have control over the length of paper you use up. My friend likes rough toilet paper because no. I'm glad you guys I would have been surprised, honestly, if you guys were like offended that the stream is gonna be shorter and like not understand, because this is so unlike this community. You guys are all way too nice, which is great. I'm not gonna complain. And just imagine, some of the first toilet papers were advertised as having no splinters guaranteed. That doesn't sound too good. Good grief. I've always been, the public bathroom toilet paper. Either the one that comes in those huge rolls, or I haven't seen those in years, but the other ones that were like tiny squares that are all like piled on together, so that when you pull out one, another one comes out like half, and you need to grab like 10 of them to gather enough material. That's also very rough. Well, people on the internet, not you guys, but I've seen weird things going around. So, like, that would have really thrown me off. But yeah. Okay, so the thing I wanted to talk about a bit, because it's kind of relevant to my reality at the moment, is that I'm really struggling with my own artwork. Like, drawing cats is not really a problem. I can still do it, like, even if I have confidence issues. But I also really like to draw humanoids, humans, elves, D&D stuff. Or you know, fantasy or cyberpunk. Like, I like fantasy stuff. But I really struggle with drawing humans, and then I have other struggles with painting because I feel like I'm sort of stuck and not growing. So like I'm in this weird place where it feels a bit like it used to feel when I would work for another company. Like, you can deliver what is asked of you, but you are not exactly growing or finding as much fulfillment in it as you would like to. I hope my voice is not too bad, though. I forgot to ask about that. I hope it's not too hoarse. Oh, tea has been a blessing, though, because my sinuses are really messed up, and like hot stuff, the warmth of it really helps with sinus pain. Also meds. Honestly, I've really felt awful. I had 2 awful nights, and on Friday I was really fed up. Like, my face was hurting so bad, and I went and I bought cold and sinus meds, and I took them, and I had a great day yesterday and a good night. And I was like, this is great. Meds are awesome. Not abusing them, of course, but you know, when you need them. There's some cat shenanigans going on. Oh, I'm glad the voice sounds fine. Alright, so what I wanted to share with you guys, I might swatch or paint. Hold on, weird stuff is going on with the cats. Elle là, passe lave le pied. Yeah, so what I do when I'm feeling like stuck and undecided is I end up finding artwork from other people that I find really nice, and then it messes up my perception of stuff. Because I see something I like and I get really, really focused and obsessed with it. And it will be like on the forefront of my thoughts really intensely for a while, and I really don't know how to I didn't know how to really make something productive out of that. And I figured out a way, and that's what I wanted to share with you guys, in case that could also be helpful. The thing I do whenever I find an artist whose work I really, really like is that I gather enough art from them to have a decent like pool of reference, and then I ask myself a couple of questions. Like, what do I like about this person's art? If that was would I like to do exactly that? If this was my art, how would I feel about that? And then I also think about, in light of my response to that second question, I also figure out, are there things that I don't like or like less from the artwork? And sometimes it has made me realize that what I really end up enjoying about a person's artwork sometimes is not even the artwork first. Sometimes there's stuff like I like how productive they can be, or I like the subject. But oftentimes it's stuff like I realize, oh, this person, I really like their art, but it's digital, and that's not exactly what I'm doing at the moment. So it helps me like create the proper distance between the stuff and understand what I like and sort it out in ways that I can actually work on. So if someone's work, what I like is their productivity, well, that's something that I can keep in mind to find ways to be more productive. And say if someone, like, I don't necessarily want to draw like them, but I like how they use ink. Well, that's also something that is more useful than just being like, wow, this person's work is so good. I don't know if that makes sense. Super, Pico. Ouais. Les chats partout. Qu'est-ce que tu fais? Hello? The cats are here. Tu veux-tu faire ton show, Pico? Oui. Putain, tu dois te mouiller, où c'est que t'étais? Tu dois te mouiller. Tu dois te mouiller. Tu veux-tu du thé? Non. Qu'est-ce que tu veux? Tu veux laisser des pattes mouillées partout? Ah non, t'as trouvé l'élastique, hein? La petite maudite, toi. Je veux dire, j'ai un élastique parmi 1 milliard de trucs. Qu'est-ce qu'elle trouve? L'élastique. I just put out the new paper and you're gonna mess it all up. Oh no, I'm sorry to see that it got infected. Butt scritches, but. Qu'est-ce que tu fais? Wow, t'es cute. T'es tout cute. Oh, Scout just ran off. Tu veux aller courir après ta soeur? Il faut te nous voler? Non? Qu'est-ce que tu fais? Tu fais le poulet? Ouh. Yeah, cats can catch a cold too. It's called something like coryza or something like that. And yeah, they basically have snot and sneeze. It's not cute. It's not cute. They can't really use tissues, so whenever they sneeze, they put snot everywhere. Et où ta face? Et où ta face est ici. Monte ta face. Coucou. Joke about having corona. Oh. This is not a cute coccidia, yeah. I was hoping Heather would probably know, but yeah, I know that cats can have a cold. T'es bien cute, ma Pico. T'es bien cute. Minute. C'est tellement intriguant ce qu'elle fait, là. L'autre, elle arrête pas de la fixer, là. Epix. But. Qu'est-ce que tu veux faire? Tu veux juste rester là? Well, there's a cat now. That reminds me of my rabbit. Sometimes he will just start to sneeze and it's a lot of sneezes in a row. But the vet says that there isn't anything wrong with that. I've had that with the cats too. Scout has had that. But it was just like sneezes. It didn't go to the level of having snot and all of that. They can also very easily have what is usually referred to as upper respiratory system infection or something like that. C'est l'autre dans la tente là. Ils ont de la crazy là. Je suis pas rassurée, man. Oh, oh, oh. C'est cute. C'était tout mignon. Petit bounce. Ah. Ok. Whew. Sorry about that. Coccidia. Autocorrect is incorrect. I'm not sure it is coccidia, but I'm very sure there was a Y or a Z in there. But there is such a thing as cat colds. Though I'm not really sure that, well, I'm fairly sure that it doesn't jump from humans to cats, because I would have given them mine like a few days ago, because it's not because I'm sick that I'm gonna stop hanging out with my cats. Sorry. Trolling the public about Corona. I'm not sure that's all that great an idea, because this is like taking an unsettling turn with the way things are in Iran. Iran? I never know how to say that. I think it's Iran. Oh. That would be maybe a bit better. People are panicking everywhere. I'm not. It's not that bad over here, but it's kind of a weird situation where I think about half the cases we have in Canada are connected to Iran rather than China. Like, that's the thing that bothers me a bit more. It's how it really looks like China had the start of the virus, and they took a lot of they acted a lot in ways to try and prevent it. But from what we hear of Iran, they're doing nothing to help contain or prevent it from happening. So I'm like, I really don't know how that's gonna end up. Oh, I wanted to swatch these. Canadian and Brits say Iran, while Americans say Iran. In French, we say Iran. So, yeah. I feel like they're blowing it out of proportion. A very low percentage of cases are actually serious. I think it's a little bit absurd. It's a really difficult to say. In the sense that it seems to be quite easy to spread. If you are a healthy person with no previous conditions, those kind of patients seem to do better and recover better. But the thing is that Corona is a new virus, from what I've read on it, and it's difficult to predict how it's gonna evolve and change. And that's what is a bit more worrying about it. Like, we know flu enough to know how it behaves. And like the flu vaccine, that's them trying to extrapolate where the flu virus is gonna go a certain year. So the fact that we are in a position where we can sort of extrapolate about that means that we know a lot about the virus, even if we get it wrong. With COVID-19, there's no way to know where it's gonna go. So that's the bit that's worrying. And also, like I said, all the vulnerable people, that's not great. And yeah, the face mask, they don't protect you from catching it, they protect you from giving it. Like having a mask in your face if you feel sick, that's the thing to do, because you don't put out all your microbes. And if you are worried about catching it, that's not going to help you. You're better off leaving the face masks to the health professionals or the sick people. We have a first case in Montreal. And it's a person who had been in Iran. Yeah, the person, as soon as she felt like she had symptoms, she went to a doctor. And they were saying that they thought she had a rather mild case of the disease and was sent home to be isolated. But, it was not worrying. So I'm guessing that's not someone who was vulnerable to it. It's like vaccination. It's not about being worried that you're gonna catch it or not. It's about providing a certain safety to the people who are vulnerable to it. Like, vaccine is not for you. You get vaccinated for the vulnerable people and the young people. Like the babies and the older persons. And also, it might be a good idea if you don't want to have something like polio or whatnot, mumps. But that's what I find silly, is when people take vaccination on a very first level of involvement. Like, I don't need it, I'm healthy. I'm like, yeah, sure, good for you. But the thing is if you are in contact with a lot of people, you really should consider getting vaccinated so you don't put these people in more danger than necessary. Yeah, herd immunity, that's it. That's the word for it. So I got these two, I wanted to try these. They are the Holbein artist colored pencils. Oh my gosh, the cats are being at it today. I hear growling. Yeah, some face masks can protect. It has to be an N95 mask, and you have to know your size and how to wear it properly. It's a bit like the mask I have for paint making. It's a mask that really seals around the nose and mouth and has filters on it. And like, you don't feel any air coming out when you breathe in it. But then again, COVID being what it is, you can also catch it with your eyes, in the sense that if it's particles in suspension in the air, if it gets in contact with the eye because they're wet, it's also a way to catch it. So the mask is one thing, but you also need glasses, and it's no wonder people who work on it have hazmat suits. I've seen some crafter publish tutorials on how to make masks from one layer of paper tissue. Yeah, that's not gonna help much. Well, it might help in spreading the disease if you have it, like a tiny bit, but it's not gonna prevent you catching it. That's the one thing I find really silly sometimes. You see people in the subway and they will eat something like an orange while holding the poles in the subway, like the handles of things to stay upright. Or they will grab a thing, then pick out something in their teeth and grab it again, and you're like, that worries me a bit more than a lot of things. That's so gross. That's true. Phoebe says the concerning part of it is that people are contagious before they show symptoms. Yeah, you can spread it while being asymptomatic, which is a bit surreal when you think about it. It makes finding the chain of contagion really difficult. One sneeze and the mask is gone. Yep. Did you guys see the picture the CDC did on what kinds of beards can wear a mask? Actually, it's no beard if you want to wear a mask, but that was really funny because they used like Papa Smurf as an example. They used all types of bearded cartoons to explain why the mask doesn't fit on properly with a beard. It was really funny. May I'll stick to my truck. Oh, I would if I had one. And if this wasn't Montreal with its absolutely ghastly driving system and drivers. Well, my stance on it is I try to stay home. I don't go out as much. Not like I would go out anyway, but you know. Oh, hey, Scott. Salut, babe. Qu'est-ce que tu fais ici? Veux-tu venir dire bonjour? Tu veux venir dire bonjour? Oh là là. De la belle visite. Attends. Hey. Un gros... Tes fesses. Oui, je sais, mais monte ta face au lieu de tes fesses. C'est bien plus cute. Eh oui. T'as bien joué, t'as fait la folle, t'as tout pété. Et t'es scouti-pou. The true protection against the virus is introversion. Well, it works. There are so many stupid things going on, like people who refuse to buy and drink Corona beer because it's named Corona. It's like, all that Corona means is crown. And it refers to either the object, or in this case for the virus, it's the shape of the virus. Hey, Pico! I have two cats in here. Hey, Stephen, hi! Oh, that's true. Alex says, bear in mind people who need oxygen with already weakened respiratory and immune system cannot wear N95 masks because they cannot be sealed. The only thing they can do is wear any mask. Non? C'est quoi ça? C'est quoi ça? C'est quoi ça ici? Pourquoi tu bats de la queue, Scout? Heather says, takes caulk gun full of silicone adhesive and fills beards to create seal around masks. Ta-da! Problem solved. Yikes! Are you purring? Are you purring for real? Are you purring? You big dork. Hey, Malvina, hi! The year's barely started and a bunch of wild events have happened. Masks are also really good for training yourself not to touch your face. Blech. I'm too grossed out by it. That's how I got trained to not touch my face. Because unless it itches, then I try to use like one of the least used fingers, you know, like the edge of the nail on the small finger. Oh, tes oreilles sont toutes dépoilées. Qu'est-ce que t'as fait? T'as plein de bobos, Scouty. Oh là là. But. Assaulting hipsters. I'm grumpy. Look at me, I am grumpy. Meow, meow, meow. I use my shoulder. Yeah, that's also a good one. Hey, Jill. Hi. Hi, Diane. I hope I didn't forget anyone. Here's my yeah, that's the shoulders can work too, but sometimes it's difficult to like scratch your nose with your shoulder, or if you have glasses in the way. The most annoying gross thing is to drop your scarf on the floor in the winter, in a public space. It's like, but it's cold. Hey, San, hi. She's always like wagging her tail. What's up with you? Mom, stop. I tried to sleep a bit more upright because it was easier to breathe. And I slept on the couch for that. Like I put up some cushions and the first night I did that, Scout came in and slept with me. And that was rather cute. She was like, yay, warmth. And I was like, yay, kitty. Yeah, washing your hands is always an excellent idea to avoid catching anything. I don't drop my scarf too often because I hate it, but it can happen, you know. And it's always like, but it's cold, but it's gross, and I want to put it in my face, so I often choose to go cold rather than put a dirty scarf on my face. But I see people who have scarves like they remove their winter clothing in the subway station while waiting for the train to pass, and like they will walk the whole length of the quay, anyway, the subway thing. Hello. And their scarf will be like touching the floor the whole way, and I'm always like, don't they notice? Oh non, qu'est-ce qui se passe? T'as chié partout. C'est quoi tout ce poil? Ah, faut vraiment qu'on vous brosse, ça a pas d'allure. Mais t'es bien plein de poils. Non mais t'es chiante là. C'est ma place. But. Well, that's that's nice, Scout, but if you could show your face, that might be better, you know? How not to lose your knitted crocheted scarf. Find a button that fits through the hole and sew it on the inside of your collar. That's an excellent idea. Oh my gosh. Hey, Misha, hi. That's a really, really good idea. I don't get how people do not wash hands after using public bathroom. That's one thing. Or using even personal bathroom. Like if you went there, but if your jacket has those loops to hang the jacket up, can a scarf be threaded through the loop so it can fall? Depends on the loop, but yeah, that's a good idea too. Sun says, I'm in a good mood. I got a bunch of technical pens and a whole lot of vintage nibs for like 10 euros on eBay. That's a great find. That's a really great find. Qu'est-ce que... C'est tout? Tu t'installes là puis tu bouges plus? That's a bit boring. You're a bit boring, baby cat. Hey Susan, hi. Yeah, I guess being in the woods is possibly a bit of a different setup. But it's the fact that if you pee in a public restroom, you have access to facilities to help clean your hands after. And some people just skip them, and you're like, they're there. Why? Oh, non, arrête ça. Non, non, non. Oh, tu es le pire. Tu es le pire. Finally got my first little half pans wells to test today. For now they are in clear resin, but I'll probably ask for white. Ooh, ooh, that's exciting. You are not exciting. Mom. She's so grumpy. Ah, tu t'endors en plus. Tu veux aller là? Attends. Attends. Ouais, je sais, tu chiales tout le temps. Pink. Attends. Non? There's so much hair on my desk now. Yuck. Est-ce que t'as mis du poil partout? Well, I tried something. Maybe not the best thing, but what about the other business? I grabbed some of this. No, poil. Oh, oui, poil. There you go. So much fur. Bon, je vais essayer de refermer la porte, là, mais pas de garantie. Pardon? Non, elle est sur le comptoir, mais Péco est ici. Mom! That's what I always figured they're saying. Especially Scout. Because she's never happy with anything, that one. She's always complaining. Wow, she's really shedding a lot. Okay, I see. Alright, hold on. Sorry about that. It was gross. I stopped wearing a scarf. My grandpa said it will toughen your throat. Does that mean you're gonna grow fur? Hey Lee, hi. Qu'est-ce que j'ai dit, toi? Well, there's a few still. Can go for a few minutes, but I'll have to go get some water. So, not for drinking, but for painting. So, hold on. Hey, Ellen, hi. Alright. Be right back. Hey, Otto! Oh no. Did I send you my cold? I hope not. It's not faucet. Oh no, I gave you my cold. Oh no. No. You need meds. Get the cold and sinus meds. Quickly. I can imagine Eve sending out boxes and coughing in them before she seals them. That is so not cool. That's not a nice thing to do. Alright, so I saw on my table that I still have those out. And I really need to try them. And basically what I wanted to do was to revisit the Zorn palette. Alright, the Zorn palette, and this time see what it looks like with gouache. If you heard a weird noise followed by Qu'est-ce que tu fais? This scout, she's being crazy. That's impressive distance you can toss a cough. Sorry. it crosses the Atlantic and goes all the way to Scotland. Who's shouting in the background? I think that was Scout that you heard going wow, or similar Scout sound. They're a bit crazy today. Mais non, mais si tu fermes la porte, tu pourras pas sortir. Not the sharpest tool in the shed, for sure. Dr. Otokano, you need to update your antivirus. Aww. I wish I could... That's the thing I wish I could send out to Otto sometimes. The cats. Though I think he would hate them right now because they're shedding so much. That's true. San says about the Zorn palette, such a wonderful limited color combination. It makes everything you paint look so vintage and classical paintery style. It really does. And also it makes everything really cohesive because as you only have 4 colors, you cannot really end up with what I call the pizza effect, where you have way too many stuff going on and it's difficult to get a good feel for the scene you painted. Please send me kitties, but I won't send them back. Aw. I'm pretty sure you would regret that. You would be happy with them for like a fortnight, and then you'll be like, you know what? These two are a nightmare. Why do I like ugly postcards? I don't know, it's just a thing that came around. And it started when, like, I think some friends of or relatives traveled, and they said, hey, do you want me to bring you something back? And I was like, postcard is kind of cheesy. And I was like, oh, I know, if you find, like, grab me the ugliest postcard you can find. Not going out of your way, but just to, if you look at postcards randomly, grab the ugliest one of the lot. And that's how it got started. Like, people started, like, finding ugly postcards, and they make me laugh, so that's kind of why I really like them, because they're so funny, you know. Like, what is going on with these? Qu'est-ce que tu fais? Pas me taper sur la tête. Tu vas aller sur l'autre chaise, hein? Mais descends, puis vas-y. White is a pretty useless color to swatch, but it's white. Good job. Yeah, the thing is, I tried converting the Zorn palette to watercolor in a video, and someone asked recently why I picked the color I had picked for the black, and I was trying to remember, and I was like, you know what, I'm not quite sure. I don't really remember. And that got me thinking, like, with watercolor, I don't really see a point in having a white paint. Like, I think the whole point is to use the white of the paper. But I was like, maybe I should try the Zorn palette with gouache. Because with gouache, there it's a bit more interesting to use something that is white. It doesn't really go against the medium, it goes with it. So what I'm curious to see is to see if the black gouache, because, okay, what is interesting of the Zorn palette in oil is that whenever you mix the ivory black and the white oil paint, it gets this bluish color, because whenever you add white to a color, it tends to cool that color down, cool it. And when it's with ivory black, even if the ivory black looks really black at pastone, when you add white to it, it gets blue a bit, and that's how you get the blue in the Zorn palette, from what I understood. But I don't think it's the same with. Oh no. Hold on, let me catch up. Come to Denmark and go into a souvenir shop. They have the most ugly postcard. Oh yeah. That's what I usually do. This says, I recently learned that gerbils are illegal in California. How come? Is there a reason for that? I could maybe find a really garish casino one, considering I'm in Nevada. Oh my gosh. I've had some pretty epic ones. I mean, a nice postcard is great. Like, if you don't find an ugly one, that's not a problem. If you want to send a beautiful postcard, that's fine too. But the silly ones always make me laugh. I have one that's like landscape, but on the foreground you have a plant that's half dead. Like, it's half dry and it's just like struggling to survive. And I'm like, this is not necessarily a super glamorous thing to have on the forefront of your postcard, you know? So yeah, Otto has gerbils, and I really like that you've set it up that they have like half the space, half the cage to just dig around. I mean, can you imagine if you're a pet that likes digging and you're set in a space that has a lot of dedicated space for that? Like, it'd be a thrill. Otto says, starting to get to know their little personalities too. Ruby is the friendly, curious one. Saf is bossy as heck. Opal just eats and eats. Jet is the shy one who loves to run on her goes, "Aww, that's so cute. Hey Phoebe, have a great lunch." The blue is created with the white and ivory black. The blue, maybe. Well, the thing is that I grabbed some ivory black gouache. Like, it has the most minimal hint of blue. Like, absolutely minimal, but it doesn't really reproduce the effect of oil. But, I mean, it's fun anyway. It doesn't make it a bad palette, it's just you have to deal with having no blue, which is a solid challenge, you know. It's really good for portraiture because you can get a lot of really nice skin tones with the yellow ochre, the red, and the white. And incidentally the black too. It's an excellent palette for portraiture. Kind of a classical take on portraiture, but still. Heard it in a video yesterday. I did a quick Google search and apparently it is because the habitat in California is similar to their native habitat. They don't want something like the Florida Everglades, where people have released pet snakes. Oh yeah, in the sense that it would mess up the local wildlife. That's a very good reason. I hadn't heard of it before, but it does make sense, you know. These are Holbein gouache. Is there a way that I can put them? Oh yeah. How about that? Okay, here is better. It's permanent white, yellow ochre, flame red, and ivory black. I know that the usual Zorn palette has a cadmium red light, but yeah. I grabbed what I have, and this is what I have. The yellow ochre is not as opaque as I would have thought. Aww. There's another thing that I wanted to mention, and it's that I was considering having a sort of podcast format too. in the sense that there are certain topics that I can see myself talking about, but that I don't necessarily have a visual that goes with it. So I figured that a kind of podcasting would be maybe good. And also, I know that sometimes like I postpone watching videos until later in the day or the next day because I'm working and I am not sitting in front of my computer. So having a thing that you can really listen to without having to watch necessarily, I thought that might be a nice new extra thing. Sorry. If you really want to dive into the Zorn palette, you can follow Zorn palette on Instagram. Oh yeah, I should really do that. Can you tell I'm a Zorn palette fan? It's nice to know that it's not completely forgotten or lost in, you know, in some obscure part of art history, that people still like are excited about this palette. Yes, do podcasts. Ah, thank you, Otto, for the vote of confidence. Those are some lovely sunny warm colors, aren't they? And it's weird because I see how Zorn uses them and I'm like, this is amazing, but when I get to me using them, I'm like, like I don't do realism all that well or at all, and it's a bit more difficult, I find, to think of these colors. I mean, they work as flat colors together because, like I said, it's a limited palette, but it's converting my style of regular, more flat colors to this particular selection of colors that is challenging. Yes, I love listening to podcasts while doing Caturday Night Live. Yeah, that could be the name of the podcast, though. What are your ideas for podcast topics? That's the thing I need to do a bit more work on, but like I know I want to do one on the comic that I do with Mr. E, because we want to have a way to tie this in with a potential comic live stream as a special thing going on. But I felt like it might be more interesting if there's a kind of an informational video about the comic first and then a live stream. And I also think I would like to talk about things like inspiration and how to maybe how it feels when you have anxiety and mental health issues with being creative. And like, you see a lot of people who are able to vent out their feelings and their art, but it's not given for everyone. And I think that would be something fun to talk about. But also maybe just fun stuff like specific pigments or things like that. I don't know, but I feel there's a lot of things that can be addressed. And I know that to some extent some people just enjoy having the background noise, so I could probably read the phone book and it will still work as background noise, if you know what I mean. I really enjoy having background noise while I work. I don't know why, because sometimes I just tune it out and then I have no idea what they're talking about. It does look a tiny bit blue, but I need to check back on the images to see exactly how what it looks like in oil. And some people suggested using Payne's Gray for the black, which would have this bluer component to it. But I would have to do some research on that too, because some Payne's Gray are more like Payne's Blue, and some Payne's Gray are maybe more black with a hint of blue. But I've seen some that are really, really blue, so it's more difficult to just go like, yeah, this color, grab one. And like if you grab yellow ochre, you get yellow ochre. There's not much of a surprise there. But for a color like Payne's Gray, you kind of need to research exactly the hue you want. Alright, I'm gonna catch up on chat, and then I think that would be it for today. I would listen to your podcast, the theme's idea. Oh, thank you so much, Lada. Yay. Sounds good to me. Thanks, Lise. The Quebec phone book. Yeah, you would get all sorts of Canadian French names. Sounds great, kind of an F cafe. F cafe, will there be coffee? There will be tea for sure. I'd love to have a podcast like that when I'm doing art, diamond painting. Oh, great. I would totally go to F cafe. I have kind of a running thing, not exactly a joke because it's not meant to be funny, but it's a thing that a friend and I keep saying, and it's always like, oh, we should absolutely open our cafe one day and have it be a cat cafe. And yeah, and then a quiet cat cafe. Like, you go in there and it's silence, with perhaps some kind of soft, like, non-bothering music playing in the background, something really, really light. And you're like, yeah, our quiet cat cafe with, like, no kids, kids, if they're quiet, that's fine. The whole point is to be quiet, but, like, no excitement, no big brah noise, and a bunch of cats, and have, like, tea and muffins and yummy things. I really think you should combine the podcast with the live stream, or even just a normal video that's also a podcast. Well, if I do the podcast, it's going to be on YouTube too. And I might, depending on what I'm talking about, I was thinking that I could maybe reuse some footage I have of me molding paints just as a background. Might be the same footage every time, but have just this background stuff going on. And if I'm talking, let's say for one of them I'm talking about an artist that I really like, well, I can have it be like a video podcast where I can add pictures to, perhaps, like, for the people who are watching, they can also see what I'm talking about, but it's not a mandatory part of the thing, if that makes sense. But yeah, if I do the podcast, they're gonna be on YouTube too. I don't want to... I already have a billion platforms to try and manage. Too difficult. Oh, that would just be awesome. Ah, my sinus just got unclogged. Oh, that's nice. Oh, what a great feeling. Nice. Oh, that would just be awesome. I was actually looking for a new audiobook today on how to deal with the anxiety that your art isn't good enough. That's I will write it down because I know myself and I know I forget everything, but that's a very heavy and always prevalent topic. That's that's what I mentioned a bit at the beginning of this live stream. Yeah, I can breathe. Nice. A cafe without people interaction, basically. We have a kitty cafe in Stratford. You have to book time in with the kitties in their own space. It's really peaceful. Oh, that sounds great, Alan. Ooh, order to an app. The ultimate introvert space. The order to an app. Yeah, but that means that we would have to go out of there to deliver. No. And then you just go in there alone and shut the door. I hope my sinuses will be nice and free soon too. It's kind of weird to I know some people have to deal with this on a chronic level, and it really makes me sad, but having a cold makes you always gonna be a bit more grateful for when things get back to normal and you're like, hey, my face is not pain. That's kind of awesome. Or I can like, I don't have to blow my nose on non-stop. I was just recommended a podcast episode today on perfectionism, that and procrastination. I will take notes. Oh, I don't think it's visible, but I got this thing, which I first saw in one of Steve, the Mind of Watercolors videos. I think it was his gift suggestions for the holidays. And it's awesome. I really like it. I use it all the time now because they're not that much space. So if you use a lot of brushes while you paint, that might not be the best match for you. But you can fit 2 larger brushes, 2 medium, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 smaller brushes. And it's just nice to let them dry and then store them away. Okay, I was looking for a pencil. But yeah, in terms of footage for the video, it could be like real-time mulling paints, it could be real-time painting, but the narration wouldn't be necessarily in relationship to what is visually on the screen. The euphoria of not being in pain. I've sent an extrovert who understands and respects the rules of an introvert for delivery. Did other people watch about the Meow Meow Cafe saga? Do I remember that one? I think I do, but I think I might be mixing it up with the Per Cat Cafe mayhem. Oh yeah, Per Cat Cafe. Yeah, that one was a nightmare. Oh my gosh. There's a channel called Frederick Knudsen, and he oh, hold on. Yeah, Frederick Knudsen, and he has this series called Down the Rabbit Hole, and he basically goes on certain topics that are either really specific to YouTube or the world of the internet, or other things like the Per Cat Cafe, or he had one on the what's it called, the Rat Utopia project. Like, it's really weird stuff. And he has one on the Per Cat Cafe, and it's absolutely mind-blowing how nightmarish that was. Where is Lise? There you go. You should be able to share links now. Oh, yeah, meow meow purr. Oh, well, the thing is with that one, it's sort of mesmerizing how bad things went, but at the same time, I feel so bad for the cats. Because they didn't ask to be in it. And sometimes, there are some weird... we have no cats, Kathleen. Alex is fully aware of the whole thing, I guess. But yeah, it's basically the Per Cat Cafe nightmare story is the story of a lady who wanted to create this space, this cat cafe space. And it just, not because of things out of her control, it's like completely things that were in her control. And yeah, basically the cafe was a huge fail, and it's just absolutely mind-blowing to see this go. Like, it starts with having the space for the cats that is really subpar in terms of it's like if someone who doesn't know and doesn't like cats decided to start a cat cafe. That's basically how it feels. It is so weird. It is absolutely one of the weirdest things I've heard about. It's the kind of background noise that I really like to listen to when I'm working or doing stuff. It's the weird story things that one might not know about. I listened to one of the Down the Rabbit Hole videos yesterday, and it was about this artist called Darger, I think. Some really weird stuff. Like, the story of this guy is really intense and weird, and it's not something I would have heard of. We'll say that I'm within driving distance of the cat cafe. If anyone has seen Restaurant from Hell, that couple who insists they're sick of haters and bloggers and... Restaurant from Hell, not the Gordon Ramsay show. Because the Gordon Ramsay show about restaurants that are failing for no known reasons. The owners equals that times a million plus alcohol. Ooh. Oof. Yeah, the poor cats. I think the cats were because the person who had the idea for the cat cafe was the really weird person, but whenever there was employees, they were actually cat lovers and people who knew how to care for cats. So that's one of the things that has helped the cats, I think, from the cat cafe to sort of have this side of the staff that would take care of them, really. It was Nightmare Kitchen, I'm pretty sure. But there's quite a few cases of people who are like, my restaurant's not working because of Yelp. You're like, yeah, no. That's not how this works. I like the cafes where they let the cats come down and you can only pet animals that want it. This is my experience with cat cafes too. The cats are like free to walk about, and like you can do like you do any other cat. You can approach them and see if they will let you pet them, but if they are not particularly interested, like it's not a manhandling pet cafe, you know. It's just the cats, and people should know what cats are like. Yeah, the one in Stratford has an entire room that is kitty only, safe for staff. I love those rooms because they usually have a handle and a lock, but also a cat door. And you know that's the cat's only room because there's no way you can get in without the key. I like it too. I think it's a great idea. Did I tell the story about the one time when my friend and I, the one we have this quiet cat cafe idea, we went to our usual cat cafe before it closed, and they used to have the most amazing vegan donuts there. So whenever we would go, we would take like coffee or tea and vegan donuts and just chat. And at some point, my friend got up to either go to the bathroom or get some water. And I looked away for a split second, huh. And when I looked back, a cat had come up to our table, stolen her donut, and was running away with it. And it was hilarious. The poor cat eventually dropped its prey because it's a donut versus a cat, that's still kind of big. But we were like, what? What is going on? Why is this cat stealing a donut of all things? And yeah, that was funny. I can't keep up with kitchen shows. I love the part of the kitchen shows where they get put back in their place. But the part about the happy ending and the redoing of the restaurant and their first opening night, that's the part I like less, because I kind of know that ultimately most of those places have closed down, even if the relaunch was great. Heather is a cat cafe. Well, at the moment you serve tea or coffee, Heather, you are a cat cafe. There's the hotel version of Kitchen Nightmare that is also quite bad. Alright, so last round for questions. And then I'm gonna end this for today. I hope that my voice will be better next week so I can record videos. Like, I was not feeling awesome last week, and my voice was weird, so it didn't make for a good recording experience, but hopefully by next week I should be able to record and post regular videos on the main channel. Incidentally, I have both cats with me in the studio now. They're both fast asleep. They are both fast asleep on the other chairs in here. Imagine trying to get art done with Chaos and Bruiser in the room. Yeah, I'm not sure you can go to Heather's Cafe to get work done. But you will have some fun times with the cats for sure. Oh, thank you guys. Hopefully I feel better soon too, I hope. Take your time to recover. Yeah, but then again, I hate doing nothing. So I'm like, man, go away, you stupid cold. Take a nap. Well, I slept really well last night, which was great. Thankfully. I would direct some of the well wishes to Otto too, who is possibly starting on the cold path of having a cold. Imagine visitors fending off cats who jump up expecting to be caught, or those who climb on backs. Yeah, that's a bit too much. Throw spoons into the chat for general usage. Yeah, I hope so too. I hope that everyone who doesn't feel too good gets better soon. I hope you guys are able to not catch anything bad or just unpleasant, because even the unpleasant stuff is, you know, unpleasant. You're not doing nothing, you're healing. Yeah, but it feels like doing nothing. And it's just like, wah. But then I sit down and the best I can do is like swatches like this. I did a bunch of swatches last week. That's what I did, but aside from that, I can write, but I definitely could not record anything. F cold. That's what I'm calling this cold. No! It's the French-Canadian cold, the lumberjack cold that made it all the way. The worst thing is I didn't even send you anything. But yeah, the timing is quite bad. Spoon scramble fight begins. It would be the most like you know, unenergetic scramble ever, because everybody doesn't want to spend too many spoons catching new spoons. So it would just be like, spoons. You cut the F 2020. No. Alright, well, thank you guys for being here today. The kind of cold. I hope you guys have a good week next week, as good as possible, and definitely we'll be back next weekend with another live stream, and I will keep you guys posted. I regularly post, or try to, on Instagram and Patreon mostly, and also on Twitter. And if you look at the description, there is a link to the Discord, which is our chatting server where we keep on talking about stuff during the week and sharing pictures and sharing swatches and talking about paint and talking about other things too. So it's a really fun place, and it's free, so you just have to follow the link that's in the description, and it will take you through the account making process if you don't have an account with Discord already. Yeah, Patreon link is in the description too. On Twitter and Instagram, I am evbolt, EVEBOLT. So I think that rounds it up. So be careful, everyone. Wash your hands, and I hope you all have a great week. Bye bye.